Beware, I live.
We are here today as we have another set of special guests here brought to us by our friends at Amazon. And we will be speaking to some peeps from Splitscreen Studios based out of Hamburg, Germany.
Just so you know, didn't mean to interrupt, but we are meeting with Ollie Schaefer and Mark Buchholz, or Buchholz.
Ollie what?
Schaper. So it might actually be Ollie Schaefer and Mark Buchholz, or Buchholz.
All right. So today we are meeting with Ollie and Mark of Splitscreen Studios.
That's much better than I said it.
Guten Tag.
God.
Hey, guess what press... I know Neil's going to punch me because it's messing up his edit now, but I'll make it quick. Guess what press release I got approved for?
Dead Island.
Nope. Crytek.
Oh, seriously?
Oh, cool.
Yeah, because I'm the greatest.
You are the greatest.
I'm the greatest.
They're also based out of Germany, and I have other friends in Germany at Neo Geo Dev Team.
And I think those are great questions to bring up.
Well, that's okay. We don't have to bring that up then.
Well, you have it in one of your questions here.
But anyway, so we're thankful we have another set of special guests today from Splitscreen Studios.
They've been working on games since 2009. There's a lot of new companies out there. You know, companies that have been, the company we talked to last week has been around for a year. This one's been around for just about 3 years. This podcast is like the oldest thing in the market today. We're older than all these people.
I think we're now seen as the Atari of podcasts.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, you know what? I wouldn't mind that. Actually, I would rather be called the ColecoVision strictly because of its niche place in the market.
I don't mind being the Atari as long as we never see an add-on equivalent to us of the Jaguar CD.
Oh, my gosh. Let's see if we can get these guys on the call.
Double plus Enterprise engage.
Connecting to the team at Splitscreen Studios in Hamburg, Germany. In 3, 2, 1.
That is seriously one of the most interesting pictures I've seen.
Yeah, that's my Dino Storm avatar.
We're on the line with, is it Mark Buchholz?
Yes, that's me.
And Ollie Schaefer, is that right?
Yeah, almost.
Schaefer.
Schaefer. Yeah, you got it.
I'm German. I should know this. So we're meeting today with Splitscreen Games out of Hamburg, Germany. I don't know if I heard, is Anja there as well?
Yes, I'm here.
And with us is Alex, our creative director.
Yes, I'm here.
Wow, we have got a full house.
Yeah.
That room is going to get really hot really fast. Well, thank you all very much for making time to meet with us today. Splitscreen Games recently began their relationship with Amazon.com's free-to-play marketplace. And Dino Storm, this morning, currently sits atop the free-to-play webpage. I don't know if you've been there today.
Yes, I've been there. So, yeah.
You're on top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you give us a little bit more information of how you came to work with Amazon?
Actually, they contacted us. We're not sure where they found us, but they saw our games somewhere and liked them so much that they got in contact with us. And who are we to say no to Amazon?
Now, is it Splitscreen Games or Splitscreen Studios or?
We recently changed to Splitscreen Games because in the start, a few years ago, we were just a developer, just a development studio. And we transformed to developing and self-publishing. So we renamed us to Splitscreen Games.
In addition, Splitscreen just recently rolled out a summer partner initiative, which brought you in a bunch of new partners and it seemed to be a total success. Looking at the press release and looking at your website, it looked like you brought in a bunch of individuals. Can you explain a little bit more about that initiative?
Yeah, we basically just added a few new languages and had Dino Storm coming up, and then we just Tim and me basically have a pretty huge network of partners. We already work with our former employees, and we just contacted them, and they were really happy with the games, or they thought they are really cool, and that's how we basically came to work with them.
Storm was a real door opener for us for getting in contact with new partners, and it's a unique setting which none of them already had. Unlike our other games, science fiction games are pretty common these days, so Dino Storm was really the door opener for all the new partners.
I was really excited to see Wild Tangent in there, so congratulations on that initiative. Excellent work.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So, Anthony?
All right, and Mark, Ali, and Anya, once again, I just want to welcome you to this special episode of the Double Plus Good Games podcast, and it's a pleasure to have you on once again.
Thanks.
Thanks for having us. Thanks, Anthony.
You're welcome. And before I move on to the main meat of the questions, Mark and Ali, respectively, if you would like, each of you, if you would like to explain your position with Splitscreen Games and what you do, and then we can move on to the main course, so to speak.
Okay. So I'm Ole, I'm CEO of Splitscreen Studios and a co-founder besides Mark and Alex. We founded Splitscreen in 2008, and as former Big Point employees, we focused on 3D browser games and wanted to bring console quality to the browser. And our expertise is in 3D action MMO games, and that's what we do.
My job is I'm the product manager, so I'm basically looking at our games and analyzing the data, and we are trying to find features and spots where we can improve the performance of our games. So that's what I do.
I am Alex, and my position is as a creative director. I'm shaping how the game should look like and the game design themes. I came together with Mark and Ola also at Big Point, and then we know each other there and started to make 3D games. Yeah, that's basically it.
So primarily, you guys had experience creating MMO-style games in 3D, graphical experience prior to the Splitscreen Games endeavor?
Right, so that's also why we came in contact with the free-to-play model, and that were the early days of free-to-play games, quite a niche market. Then we found combining these high-quality games with the free-to-play model was very interesting for us, so that's why we founded the company, to try if that would work.
Now that you have the ball rolling on that and you kind of have things set with Splitscreen, if you'd like, you can enlighten our audience with some further information in regards to some of your primary projects, maybe Steel Legions, Pirate Galaxy, Dino Storm. Maybe you can educate our audience and listeners in regards to what to expect from those.
So we've launched 3 titles right now. The first one was in 2009, if I'm correct. That was Pirate Galaxy. That was basically the project that came with the development of the technology that we have. That's a science sci-fi role-playing game. So it's a bit unusual. It combines flying spaceships with the traditional gameplay of multiplayer games like World of Warcraft, using skills. So not an action game, but more a role-playing game.
Also, it features an unusual storyline that is not often seen in free-to-play model games, and also a quite unique, huge universe with handcrafted planets and tons of handmade quests.
So that's our biggest title yet. So a great success, I would say. And with the success of Pirate Galaxy, we started on the same technology base. We started developing Steel Legions, which is a smaller production. It launched 2011, and it's more a very managed PvP game. You control steampunk-like tanks and play missions against other players. So that's a bit smaller, doesn't feature a storyline at all. It's just a nice-looking scenario with fast-paced tactical PvP action. And again, so our recent title that launched this year is Dino Storm. That's basically the longest production that we ever did, I guess, about 1 year, 1.5 years. So that all started with having the idea of doing a game based on the old comic series Dino Riders. So that was our initial inspiration. And then at some point, we added Cowboys and combined that to the setting of the game and mixed that with, again, traditional MMO gameplay.
Now, I have to admit, I've taken a look at some of these titles, and I know our partner here, James, has some experience actually playing these titles firsthand. Mm-hmm. And, you know, when looking at them, I actually forget that these are actually browser-based, which is actually pretty impressive. And for Pirate Galaxy, and then as you said, you went on to, you know, Steel Legions, and from there to your latest project, Dino Storm. Do you use a custom, like, in-house engine to get these titles to work? Is it all your own unique engine, or are you using something that's already available?
What we did is we wrote a development framework basically for launching these kind of games in a browser. So you can also download our titles and install them to the desktop. And what we did is we mixed some open libraries written in native C code with some open source stuff and wrote some of our own stuff and combined that to kind of our own engine, but we reused stuff that was already there. But it's not an engine that you can license anywhere. It's actually combined and set together very carefully to get these games running in a browser. And we were able to do that 3 years ago, where basically nobody else was doing it. These days, you can more easily do it with engines like Unity. So that's our own technology that we use.
You know, I have to admit, we've all been gaming here on the show for quite some time, nearly 3 decades, 30 years, and I find it it's still hard for me to wrap my head around. Seeing 3D graphics or anything of that nature running in one's browser. It's a concept that I still have trouble fully comprehending. Or fully appreciating, because it's actually quite shocking. Now, if you don't mind me getting just a little bit more technical with the visuals that are piped into one's browser, do the servers on your end have to handle the bulk of the work so it can pretty much run on, anyone's PC? Is there just a lot of stuff being handled on your end so it can play smoothly on one's computer anywhere?
Actually, once the game runs, it's not that much of a difference from having a client like in World of Warcraft or other MMO titles that you download and install. The trick is how to get that stuff running. Once it runs, you don't have any differences. So with our games, it's the same like for others. The client does all the rendering, and most of the game logic, and the servers are confirming and validating the input of the players and serving as the multiplayer system. So the technological task here is to get that stuff running in the first place.
We really much focused on downscaling because we wanted to reach a broad audience, and not everyone has a gaming hardware PC, so we really focused on low-end PCs, netbooks, and notebooks, and all these lower graphic card hardware to provide a smooth experience for every user. And every PC.
Actually, it's similar to when you write retail games. You want to optimize the games as much as you can to provide a bigger audience to play your games, and that is something that even retail games needs to be done. But the other thing is that special for this case is that you need to stream the data. So you don't download the whole game in the beginning when you start to play it in the browser. Instead, you stream a certain amount of chunks that the player needs in the moment of play. So that's actually something new that the retail games doesn't have. That's a challenge to compress certain images so that it's very small and don't keep the player from reaching new zones and placing him in front of loading screens for a long time.
Yeah. So we don't want you to download like 2 or 3 gigabytes of data. So all games require 10 to 15 megabytes of data to actually start. But that's only the source code. So the game downloads maybe a spaceship when it comes into your view. And that's how we stream additional data in the background. It's still optimized to be very small and quickly downloaded. But in the end, you will like 200 megabytes for all Pirate Galaxy assets, which is still quite small, but that will be streamed once you've seen all the content and updated.
That always blows my mind when you're talking about rendering what's in frame. And I remember when I was first playing Doom 2 and Quake and games of that nature, and they said that they only render the events as you turn to look at them, so the scene behind you is not rendered out. And I could not actually wrap my head around that when I was a youngster of 20-something. But anyways, I couldn't believe it. And the fact that you're able to pump this stuff out onto delivery mechanisms like netbooks, that's enormous. Like, that expands your audience exponentially, that you're not putting that barrier for entry like a high-end processor or a graphics card. Lastly, as a console gamer, I need load times. So if you could make those load times longer, that would be great. That's just my feedback. That's all I got. So,
well, don't forget, if you're not already, Amazon Prime offers free 2-day shipping on millions of items, no minimum order size, unlimited instant streaming of thousands of movies and television shows with Prime Instant Video, a Kindle book to borrow for free each month from the Kindle Owners Lending Library. And keep in mind, after the 1-month free trial, 30 days, Amazon Prime is just $7.99 a month.
Is it $7.99 a month or $79?
It's $79.99 a year. I actually signed up when they first started it. It's the best deal I've ever bought.
Yeah, it is the, for online shopping, it's the PlayStation Plus of its. I can't even say that right. I can't even say that right. I'm exhausted. The idea is I've been with them since 2006, and it has paid off in spades.
It does pay off in spades. You save so damn much money in shipping alone, let alone all the stuff that you get for free. Like, you can watch. That's actually how I first watched Arrested Development, because they have all of their TV shows digitally that Prime members get to watch for free. So that I watched Arrested Development virtually straight through on Prime. It's a fantastic deal.
In regards to the free-to-play games and the direction of where the industry is starting to head, certainly, and obviously you guys are, you're at the forefront of that, already doing that and having executed several projects. There are some early, very weak rumors that have started to surface that next-generation consoles from Sony and Microsoft may have to seriously consider implementing the capability to do some sort of free-to-play style, to stay relevant. And if that were to occur, is that a platform or area that you guys would consider putting your products on?
Absolutely. You can already see that on mobile platforms. There's the same development, actually. So all these platforms implemented free-to-play models, so microtransactions to be done over the marketplace. Both Android and iOS did that. So that's already becoming interesting for us. And if consoles would do that, of course, that would open a whole new field for these kind of products that we do. So that's definitely interesting.
especially since Sony already started it with Free Realms already free to play on the PS3, and SingStar recently now selling a different kind of songs that you can buy that you like and can directly play it without the need of special microphones. You can just plug in the standard microphone and play these games. So it's already getting bigger.
You know, one of my favorite things when we have, you know, the opportunity to speak with people like you or people from other territories, I'm always interested in hearing about what like the gaming climate in general is like. You know, obviously we reside here in the U.S., so, you know, what we're surrounded by we're very familiar with, and as I'm sure would be the case for you in Germany and Europe. And in general, what's the gaming climate like in Germany? It seems, you know, I have some other contacts there, and there's some very passionate individuals I know based out of Germany, like Neo Geo Dev Team, and then also we have, you know, there's Crytek. But what's it like? Is it something that's just as mainstream there as it is elsewhere? Is it something that's you know, that's blooming into something more?
I think yes, but Germany for me is a much more differentiated market. Unlike, for example, the UK, which is very console focused, Germany is very has very broad usage of different devices, like the browser, like mobile, like console, like PC. Especially browser games got very big here in Germany, and I think the US was a bit later and just referring to them as social games because they got to know it from Facebook. But what we think is that on all platforms, the customers are expecting more quality, especially for browser and online games, but also for the mobile productions.
I think that one major difference is that we have more smaller companies here than in the US. Especially in Hamburg, we have a very strong network of all these small companies meeting every 2 months. So these small teams, I think, can just simply try out new stuff. So that's how many teams here are focused on mobile already or trying to go on the tablets very early on in the life cycle of the platform. So we know a lot of companies here who have just like 2 or 3 people or maybe 20 like we, and just a very small number of big players like Crytek or BigPoint.
Not Neo Geo Dev Team. I'd figure they're huge.
I don't know.
Neo Geo Dev Team is a very niche. I think it may be like 3 people, and they were building games for the Dreamcast still today.
Well, no, they pride their work on the original Neo Geo console with release, and then go to Dreamcast and elsewhere.
My apologies. I actually, the last game I picked up from them was Last Hope. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, but no, I had the pleasure of interviewing them, and I don't know. I guess I have good luck with European developers. I guess they're always very kind to me and take the time to, you know, I had the opportunity to do an interview with them. You know, obviously now I'm speaking with you guys. You know, there's some people I've contacted in France and done some work with them, and just some of the most hardcore, passionate gamers that I've ever dealt with. But if you don't mind me asking, and then I'll have James jump in here because I know he's got some things to say and maybe share his thoughts on some of his experiences with your titles. Are there any titles, you know, from the past that helped influence you with your current titles, or did you draw any inspiration from, or have any memories that influenced you? Like, I don't know if you guys were maybe Amiga players or were fans of Psygnosis's old work or Team 17.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
I especially liked I started with the Amiga 500 and was very inspired by many games like Turrican, Apudia, especially because of the music, the style of music, the art style. I quite liked it, and there are many good games, great games that are very simple, but yet still, even today, they are really nice to play.
I joined pretty late, so I played board games. all the time, like hero quests and stuff. So my favorite titles that I remember were X-Wing and Wing Commander, so that might be why we have done Pirate Galaxy.
Wow, wow. Those are some classics.
With the C64 Commodore, and I really liked the game Ultimate Tron, which was a very, very basic game, but you could play it multiplayer, but not online, obviously, on one Commodore with 8 people. It was a big party event.
The fact that you bring up Commodore 64, I know that Amiga was big in Germany, but the Commodore 64 has a super special place in our hearts. That was the first dose of 8 bajillion games on one console.
Yeah, it was so great. So I played Defender of the Crown very, very much. Summer games, winter games, all these kind of stuff.
Also,
classics.
I remember back then when Ole said about the multiplayer, I even did connect the Amiga 500 with another Amiga 500 with a direct cable to make a network session. With the game. With the game. That was quite strange. But we already did it back in time, and it was Settlers. The Settlers, Zila called here, and you can play together and against the AI or against each other. It was quite fun.
Well, James, I don't want to be a hog here and hog all the limelight here, but
my questions are probably going to be directed more toward Alex and Mark, specifically with art direction and product management. I have been playing Dino Storm a lot recently, and my questions were just, first of all, where'd that idea come from? Cowboys with lasers on dinosaurs.
As I mentioned, the very early inspirations were a desktop background that one of our developers had, which just had the line, holy shit, this is awesome. And this basically a picture from the old Dino Riders, which is a US series, or Japan, I don't know. So we really liked that because it was so silly. And then we sat down and asked the whole team to come in for a weekend and let's try to do a prototype, including something with dinosaurs and shooting. So we did that. It was very, very entertaining. The prototype was actually pretty fun. And that's when we started to think, let's do a proper game out of this. Took the risk to compile a budget to produce a full game for our scale. And at some point during the design phase, we said we need to define who is sitting on this dinosaurs, and that's how we came to the Wild West Gold Rush scenario and polished that. The graphic designers polished that until it looked how it looks.
Well, I noticed that in that game, you're not just running around shooting things and killing things. There are a lot of different consoles and kiosks in the game where you can play different sort of mini games. So there's a huge amount of variety in that one particular game. Now, it really brings something new to the table. Now, is that a specific design philosophy of yours, or is it just in Dino Storm that you've done that?
I think we tried that with Dino Storm the first time. We have some mini games in the other games, but we just had this idea to do that when we came down to design that whole city, where we thought, okay, that would be fun if it would be like Las Vegas a little bit, or if we have a casino and stuff, so you can just walk around, chat with your friends, and have some small games to play. So that's what basically is the design goal of Dino Storm. So to have you can easily go in, do whatever you want. You always have that. Also have that with this group quest system where you can just join a quest, play it with other people without organizing groups and stuff. So that's all the same design goal of that project.
Especially to make it as open as possible and not to lock players into certain schemes, to making groups, joining clans to do things. It's quite open, so you can just capture a building that's outside of Dinoville, of the town, and if you capture it, you deal with the consequences while capturing it. The other players want to take it from you, so it's a very open system. Then you also can then earn fame through that capturing and participate in the town hall to become the town sheriff. So there are plenty of ways the player can play, and that's one of the design goals, to make it horizontal and give the players a lot of options to do, but still also give them a good direction of progression.
Pirate Galaxy is a bit of the opposite, I guess. It's very linear. You have a strong handcrafted storyline. So you're progressing through a story. And Dino Storm just wants to set you in a scenario that is just fun to experience.
So Dino Storm is built around the community, and Pirate Galaxy is built around the epic story.
Yeah.
So, founded in 2009, you've got 3 games in 3 years, as you average it out. What can we expect in the future from Splitscreen Games?
So we wanted to start a new project, but we're not leaving the others behind. We're still developing new content, new features, maintaining them, and getting in touch with the community, getting feedback. And so, like every good online game, we don't have it finished when we launch it. We're just maintaining it all the time. It's online. And the next project is not yet open, so we did not announce anything yet. We have very good ideas, and we're not yet decided what the next thing will be, but expect more to come.
Well, know that we'll be here when you're ready to announce it, and when you have a formalized plan and you're ready to roll that thing out. Feel free to drop us a line and let us know.
Great.
Double Plus Good Games bonus round podcast featuring the team from Splitscreen Games and in communication.
Goodbye.